Why is writing a novel so hard? I try to answer real questions in my content, and this is something that apparently people are Googling, so I decided to answer it in my blog and now in this video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Katri, and this is Protagonist Craft, where I talk about writing and all things related to writing. If you've already watched a few of my videos, you might be wondering, what is she going to fidget with today? And today, I brought a pen. I'm trying not to click it because, you might hear it. Nobody wants to hear it, but there it goes. I have ADHD. I also have a video about writing if you have ADHD, so check it out. But if you're just wondering, why is she so fidgety? Why can't she sit? So anyway, let's talk about why is writing that damn novel so damn hard? What first I want to get curious about is why should it be easy? Like, aren't most things that are worth doing kind of difficult? Maybe at least they take effort. What does it matter that it's hard? What does hard mean anyway? And if it was easy, then like everyone who's ever thought of like, oh, writing a novel, that's a nice idea, then they would have done it. But most people, they never cross the finish line. So I'm not saying this like, I'm glad it isn't easy. I want to gatekeep writing. If I wanted to gatekeep writing, I wouldn't be making this content for you, maybe. But like, does it have to be easy? Art necessarily isn't easy. And writing a novel, like a full novel that you want to share with the world, it is work, and work demands effort. So when you're thinking of like writing a novel is hard, what do you mean that it's hard? What does that mean to you? So I have two children, one of them is 7, and she regularly tells me like she can't do something. And then I have to be like a little detective and wonder, what does it mean that she can't do it? So is it like she doesn't know how? She doesn't have the energy. She doesn't want to do it because she thinks she needs to do it perfectly on the first try. So she doesn't even want to, or maybe it takes too long and she needs to do something else as well. So when you're thinking of like writing a novel is hard, what does hard actually mean to you? Is it that it takes effort? Is it that your writing sucks and you don't know how to make it not suck? Is it because you don't even know how to make yourself do it, or you don't even have the time? You don't know how to. When would you do it, and how would you do it? So, like, think of what does it mean? What do you mean when you say that it's hard? So when you know what specifically is hard about writing novels, you can then address those things. So you know what you struggle with. You know what you can start learning, where you can make some kind of adjustments. And let me tell you, just the fact that writing a novel feels hard, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything about you as a writer, as a person. It doesn't mean anything about your writing. It's normal. It's a normal part of the writing process for it to feel difficult. And even professional writers, they can also struggle with their stories, and it also takes effort for them. So don't think that, oh, writing a novel, it feels so hard, that it means that you shouldn't do it. If you want to do it, then you should do it. Don't like, it's not effortless. It's not just like given to you a finished written novel. Just because reading a novel is easy doesn't mean that writing it. And this far, if you don't know much about writing novels, you don't know any writers, then the whole process of it might be hidden to you. It might be a complete mystery. But it is difficult. Yeah, a lot of things are difficult and they're still worth doing, and I still think that you can do them. And for me, writing novels, I guess it does require work. Sometimes I want to, pull all my hair out, but just there are so many things that I personally find more difficult than writing novels. So it's like, perspective. So is there any way that you could make writing a novel easier, if not easy? Firstly, maybe you just need a better story idea. And don't get me wrong, like, if you don't know how to write a novel and if you don't know how to create a plot, then it doesn't matter what kind of a story idea you get. Like, if you don't know how to turn that into a story. But I just mean that if you're working on something that doesn't actually excite you, something that you feel like you should be writing, then yeah, no wonder if it feels difficult. If you'd like to find your best story idea, you should get my free workbook for finding your best story idea. It's going to use everything that you love already and turn that into an idea that you will never procrastinate on. But yeah, so maybe you just need the right idea, something that's actually going to sustain you through the whole difficult process, because like, I really need to share this this story with the world. So you need something like that just to keep you going. And if you don't know what happens in your story, then yeah, I can't believe that it's difficult to write a novel. So you need to learn how to figure that out. But also your story idea, it needs to have enough like potential in it for an actual story. So sometimes when you have this like a very high concept story idea, it doesn't actually have enough in it for more than just like a couple of cool scenes, and then, you need to write an entire novel. Well, I'll think of what kind of scenes I will add there. And it just doesn't work that way because it doesn't produce very good stories. So you need to think of like the whole story. How can you create an entire plot? So you need to learn how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, then yes, it's going to be very difficult because you're trying to pull things out of like from nothing. What are you doing? Excuse me, I'm working here. God, cats. Anyway, if you'd like to learn how to figure out what actually happens in your story, I also have a video about it. I will add a thing here or there. I don't know which where this video is, but yeah, check out my channel for more solutions. And if you don't understand story structure and like storytelling and plotting, and there's a lot there that you're like missing out on that would actually help you turn your ideas into plot, something that you could write an entire novel on. So perhaps you need to do some learning of like storytelling and plotting first. I've got lots of resources for that, so don't you worry. And maybe you think writing well is actually the difficult part. Like, yes, you can write, but it's going to be terrible writing. Well, let me tell you, if you've written something very bad, well done. Congratulations, you have written something. A lot of people never write anything, or they think they need to be good and they keep staring at the screen and they're like, I need the perfect sentence to come out of my brain, and it never happens, so they never do it. You've written something. Well done, high five. Now you have something that you can fix, and that's called editing. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. You can improve your writing skills, and actually you should. You don't know everything about everything there is about writing well, about writing stories. So learn. Don't have this like fixed mindset about your writing, like, oh, this is difficult and it's going to be difficult forever. I'm not good at this thing. I will never be good at this thing. Learn. Do writing exercises. Watch more of my wonderful videos. Read craft books. Read other people's books. Keep learning and understand that first drafts, they're going to be sucky, and it's perfectly fine. That is part of the process. Nothing has gone wrong if your writing is terrible. Learn to edit it. That's the only thing you need to do. Learn to edit it and then commit to editing it. And lastly, you need to figure out what actually works for you. And like, how does this whole writing thing work for you? And then do those things. Don't just be like, oh, well, this and this writer, they write their novels like this. They're always at the desk for 5 hours at a time. I need to write my novel that way as well, or else I will never be a real writer. It doesn't work like that. Like, we all have our own methods and processes and stuff. So it's like what some professional, very successful author is doing. Their methods and their routines and their writing process, it isn't what made them great. So you don't need to follow them. I don't care what someone, is saying. Sometimes my blog gets comments like, I work in the publishing industry and this is how we do it. And it's like, okay, good for you. Hey, I'm glad, Stephen, that's what works for you and that's what you're doing. But it's like we all need to work in the ways that actually work for us. It's very silly to think of this like the best, great way to write novels. So find the way that works for you and also understand how your brain works and what your first drafts are like. Because for me personally, my first drafts, they're very skinny. Like, I plan my plot thoroughly, like beforehand. I like having, at the very least, a scene list of all my scenes, preferably also have the scenes sort of planned out. So it's like, I know where I'm going. I know what's going to happen. It gives me creative freedom to know, like, I need to go there. So all I need to do is figure out how I'm going there, But the first drafts, they're very skinny. They're often very like dialogue heavy. It's like talking heads. And if I sat there thinking, I need to write 90,000 words on the first go, I need to have all this and this and this here, then it would feel like a lot of effort. I'll just be like, writing my novel there, no wonder it would feel difficult. So instead, I just write what comes to my head. I follow my outline, and I end up with this skinnier draft that I just fatten it up later, and that's what works for me. And because I've written enough full novel manuscripts to understand what works for me, I have the peace of mind to know that I've got this. So keep writing and figure out what actually works for you. And really forget anything that you've learned in school. Not in general, but here. You didn't learn anything about writing novels in school. You may have learned about reading novels and analyzing other people's novels, and you may have learned about writing essays, but none of that, it's not useful here. You don't need to approach writing a novel the same way that you would approach writing an essay. So, just forget about all that stuff and find out what would actually work for you, and then do that, and you might just find that writing a novel is easier than you thought. Now stop watching my videos and go write something, and I will see you whenever.